Howdy, guys. My name is Attorney Walter Hnot III. I hope the audio is good. We were having a bunch of technical problems, which is why we're starting a bit late today. We're at 25 minutes past the hour, even though we're supposed to start right at the hour. I just wanted to go ahead and take a quick moment to go through the basics. I am Walter Rudolph Hnot III, an attorney, a lawyer who practices Social Security disability law. And right over here, that's where I've been working for the past 7 years, a law firm that I own, that I've been working and pushing and growing and all those amazing things. Additionally, a new company that I've been working at for a year is spaceconstitution.com. It is incredible and amazing. We are getting phone calls in right now. Let's go ahead and answer it. Okay. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. Oh, let me get this real quick. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. I'm live on YouTube. Would you like to go ahead and use a fake name, and we'll go ahead and get your phone call started right now.
Hey, my name is Lori.
Perfect. Madame, would you like me to run hearing questions with you, or do you have a specific question for me?
I would like to run hearing questions.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through these real quick. I'm going to go ahead and use some easy ones right up front. We're going to go through the basics. If it's any personal information, make sure you use fake personal information. Also, if you have two of something, being your left hand, your right hand, make sure you specify. If you have more than two of something, make sure you specify, ring finger on your right hand, things like that. Also, very important as we go through these hearing questions, make sure you give strong affirmations. Affirmations like, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Don't say don't say no head nods. We've got to have strong affirmations for the record. And finally, as you're going through the process, there's 4 sections. We're going to be doing section 2 of this hearing. So you're not going to be hearing section 1, which is the intro, going over alleged onset dates, the attorneys and the judge talk about things. Section 3, vocational expert portion. We're not doing that. We're not doing the outro. Section 4. We're just focusing on section 2, statements of the claimant. And what we're going to be doing is called testimony shaping. So, Madame, are you ready?
Before we get started, I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
Are the questions different for physical disabilities versus mental disabilities?
Yes. Okay. So, that's an amazing question. I haven't done a video on that. And you'd think after like 3,000 something videos or whatever, I would have done that one. Yeah, they're totally different. So keep in mind, every question is based on the idea of, can you work? However, there's a big fork. One is the physical, which is all about like, how far can you walk? How long can you stand? How long can you sit? How much can you lift? Can you do stooping, bending, kneeling? Can you do, these physical interaction requirements when it comes to, physical labor? Fine manipulative detail with your hand, typing on a keyboard, gross manipulative details with your hands, holding a coffee cup, picking something up that's large like a basketball. And then you have the mental side. The mental side's all about getting along with others, taking instruction from bosses, dealing with authority figures, dealing with changes in routine, having to do with basically, are you able to finish what you start? Are you able to follow instructions, written versus oral? It's still work-related, question-oriented, like, can you do this job? It's still all about, can you do this job? But they're different. They're more of like, can you mentally handle the stresses involved with interacting with people, with going through the transportation to be able to get there, changing lines, driving in traffic, being able to deal with bosses. One of the favorite questions I always like to ask, which is not a common question, is when blame is to be apportioned, how do you handle that blame? And I think that that's really unique because it goes into one of the core structures of working, which is most people that are disabled, their bosses get pissed at them. They get angry with them because they're not doing the job as it was intended to be done. And so for that reason, a lot of people get into this like, my boss is pissed at me. My boss is disappointed with me. My boss is in a situation where they believe I can't do the job. My boss is giving me accommodations, but I still can't do the job. My boss is constantly trying to, help me, but he's done with it, or she's over me. She doesn't want to deal with me anymore. These are all things that I think are relevant for a disabled person to hear, because at the end of the day, we're going to, through these questions, really go into what your physical and mental limitations truly are. So let me know when you're ready, and we'll go ahead and begin.
Okay, I am ready to start.
Okay, perfect. Just again, once more, just remember to go ahead and use fake information for personal information. Madame, go ahead and state your full name for the record.
Lori Leary.
Date of birth, current age, and are you left or right-handed? Fake information.
I am 25 years old, and I was born January 31st, 95.
Excellent. Left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, excellent. Can you explain to me, are your impairments mental, physical, or both?
Mental.
Okay, excellent. Can you explain to me these mental impairments? What are your top 5 most severe impairments?
So right now, my biggest impairments are my anxiety. I have suicidal ideations. I have an inability to focus. I have been forgetting lots of things in my work-related life and my personal life, and I have continually shown an inability to take care of my impulse control.
Okay, now a lot of people don't understand what taking care of impulse control is. Go into detail a little bit and specifically bring up like 1 or 2 situations where you didn't have proper impulse control.
So for me, my impulse control issues manifest in, like, recently I walked out of work. I sat and I thought to myself, if I continue, I am going to have to get a hold of myself because, you know, I don't want to hurt myself. So I can either take a moment and collect myself, or I could just leave. And I decided to just leave. Without telling anyone. And then I have issues with controlling what I eat or how little I do or don't eat. I often will overeat. I drive my car purposefully very erratically, simply because it's very hard for me to either not want to get to a destination very quickly or to purposefully endanger my own life. I will often partake in risky behaviors just because they are risky. And that's what I mean by my impulse control.
Okay. All right, so let's go through this real quick. Out of all of your impairments that you just listed, which is the most severe?
Probably my suicidal ideations, and a lot of that is probably led on by my inability to control my urges properly.
Okay. Talk to me about the suicidal ideation. It sounds like there's the issue of the impulse control. What about a little bit of PTSD going back to something that might have happened?
So I do have complex PTSD. It's for people who've gone through some of the issues that I have. It's definitely pretty common. So how that kind of manifests for me is when I was a little girl. My mom introduced the idea of death to me very early. And she would take me to graveyards, and we would go look at the days that people had died together. And as I got a little bit older, into the five-year-old range, my mom would ask me if she wanted me to dictate whether or not she lived or not. And she would, like, hold blades to her wrists and say stuff along the lines of like, "Hey, Lori, do you want me to blah, blah, blah. I know I'm a terrible parent. I can fix this." And, I always told her no, and I would cry, and we would sob, and blah, 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 blah. And as I got older, and I realized the things that my mother was doing weren't normal, and I started to distance myself from her, I have internalized a lot of those thoughts. I see death more as a solution to an issue and an outcome that has no consequences for the person who does it. And when I'm often in a situation where I am faced with a large decision to make, my brain always supplies, well, there is another solution. There is another way to go, and that's death. And it's very hard for me to not have those those thoughts pop into my head when I'm in a situation that honestly, that if I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
What it a lot comes down to. If it's a tough situation where I have to make a decision, I tend to fall back on there's another choice that people don't like to talk about, but there's another.
Okay. All right. So let's go through this real quick. So we got some childhood-based issues related directly to your parents, which is a core memory-based issue, which usually causes people to have a lot of flashbacks and nightmares. They tend to wake up sweating and angry, or they tend to wake up afraid. And then, of course, the flashbacks, it kind of grips them right in the moment, and they can't move. They can't do anything. They're just thinking about what's actually going on in their life. So let's go through some of the basic questions here, and then we'll get to some of the tougher questions. All right. Can you tell me, when it comes to household activities, how do your mental impairments limit your ability to do household activities?
I really don't do them.
Mm-hmm.
I do the bare minimum to keep myself alive. If it comes to cooking or cleaning, I'll clean when I have no dishes to eat off of. I will cook when I have no food to eat from. I will shower when I am too. When I look at myself in the mirror and I say, you look gross, then I will shower.
Mm-hmm.
I will do my laundry when I have no other clothes to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I somehow manage to do it when I absolutely have to.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to actually taking care of myself, cleaning, I maybe do once every month.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes down to that. When it comes to like vacuuming or mopping my floor or sweeping. In fact, where I live now, I've lived here 5 months and I vacuumed twice.
Gotcha.
When it comes to doing my laundry, I typically manage to do it usually once a week to once every 2 weeks, depending on how many clothes I manage to wash the cycle before.
Mm-hmm.
Food-wise, I usually make like a pot of pasta and I'll eat off of that for about 3 or 4 days. Other than that, everything else that I eat is supplied through fast food.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, it's easy. I don't have to think about it. I just order it, I eat it, I go do something else that doesn't require too much thought. When it comes to taking out my garbage, I have valet garbage and I still manage to not take out my garbage. I just put it outside my door and I manage to screw that up somehow.
Okay.
I'll typically have a bag or two of garbage in my home until I get so frustrated that I take it out myself or leave it out on time.
Okay, excellent. So now walk me through this. When it comes to, doing, other things like laundry, when it comes to doing, for example, maybe, cleaning the house. I know you talked a little bit about vacuuming, but what about laundry? You able to do laundry?
When I have to, I am able to do laundry. It's kind of when I absolutely have to. As I mentioned before, I only do laundry when I have no other clothes to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of how that manifests is I'll typically get a very large pile of laundry, and I'll just shove some into a basket and do a basket of laundry. And when my clothes start to smell bad.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so walk me through this. When it comes to, and I understand that. What do you do when you go out? Do you go out and do hobbies? Do you have anything that you like to do?
No, I do not go out.
Okay.
I do not go out. What do you mean, like, hobbies or going, like,
Oh, do you go bowling? Do you hang out with friends? Do you go to the movies? Do you go to religious events? Do you go and do stuff? Where do you go?
So I have a friend who I'll go to her house sometimes, kind of depending on how everything goes, how I'm feeling. But they know me. if I show up and I wear the same clothes for 4 days in a row, they know she's just doing what she does, which is trying not to die. But I don't really go to the movies anymore. I don't really go to, and it's not even really COVID related. I used to enjoy going to the movies, but it doesn't have the same appeal that it used to. It used to be a really good escape. It used to be nice to go and walk around stores and look at stuff, but now everything's a chore. You know, I have to go, and I'm going to go to the art store, and I'm going to go look at all the markers, and then what, not buy any of them? Because I'm not going to use them because I don't do art anymore. Like, everything's just a reminder of how much I don't want to say lost, but how much will I've lost, and how much joy I've lost, and how much it's become very disheartening.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. How do you afford these things? Like, how do you afford your apartment? How do you afford to live? How do you afford to, get to your medical appointments? And how do you afford your medical appointments?
Well, I past tense had a job. I recently got fired. So in the last 6 years, I've had about 3 jobs. 2 of them have ended in me getting fired, and it's a slow process of them meeting someone, me, seeming like I'm a good fit, them slowly realizing I'm not, them trying to accommodate me, them slowly getting sick of my bullshit, them writing me up, or them deciding to end our contract, and that recently happened. So I can't afford my apartment. I'm soon going to lose it. I can't afford my car. I'm soon going to lose it. I am going to go to a food bank soon once I am completely out of what I have currently. But I don't afford those things right now. And before, when I was working, I paid everything that I could, and then when I went to, like, let's say the doctor, I gave them my card, and I was like, okay, well, you guys are trying to help me, so I'm going to try and make getting help a priority, and it was also pretty unsuccessful.
Okay, gotcha. All right, understood. Now, I want to go through some of the basics here. When was the last time that you were in a mental facility for more than 3 to 5 days?
I would say it was probably about 2 months ago. I was in, I had admitted myself for suicidal thoughts into the ER. They transferred me to, they day-grabbed me and transferred me to a psych ward that was not on premises. I don't remember which one it was. But they kept me, they were trying to help me get into a inpatient facility for help, but unfortunately the issue was I would have to pay minimum $2,000 up front to receive any of that help. So the only thing that they could do is buffer me out and keep me there until my insurance was willing to kick in after my deductible. And after a week there, they decided to release me because none of the outpatient clinics were willing to take me because I was a risk, and they didn't want to be liable if I hurt myself.
What were some of the accommodations that they gave you while you were working?
So one of the issues is they didn't quite give me any accommodations. I was expected to keep going until I couldn't, and that's basically what happened. My boss and we were always at odds. It was, I know she didn't, I wasn't what she was expecting. I wasn't what she was wanting out of a worker.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to communicate to the best of my ability what I was and wasn't capable of, but in the end, it's really hard. Someone like, I got taken away off the property by the police so that they could Baker Act me, and I had to call in someone off a shift. So if that doesn't show how unreliable I had become, I can understand why they were frustrated between showing up to work but basically being an empty vessel to just stand there and put money into a register versus someone coming up and telling me a complex issue that I would have to respond to and then me dropping the ball on it. There would be days where, I wasn't even worth a body to just stand there. And, they got tired of me showing up and them having to pay me to fix my mess up.
Okay. So you would show up on some days and be problematic, but other days you'd be okay, right?
There would be days that I would be okay. It was unpredictable. And some days it would change in the middle of a day. It wasn't like I had a good, sometimes I would work 8 hours, sometimes I would work 10. And it wasn't like I showed up into work and I was just like, oh, we're going to have a great day. And then, we had a full great days. But almost every day was me showing up to work being like, okay, I'm going to do my best and we're going to try and do this. And then something would happen that would shut me down. Either it would be, someone was upset about what they were paying, or someone's dog bit someone, or someone got hurt, or an employee was complaining to me. That was something that shut me down pretty quick, was if someone else was having a bad day, it affected me.
Okay, understood. All right, let me ask you this. So, how many days out of a month were you good, you were doing your job, and how many days out of the month were you bad, not doing your job?
Towards the end, I would say out of a month, maybe 3 or 4, I could function pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of days where all I did was fold laundry,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't very good at doing that either, but at least I could show up to work, but even then, it was tedious, and I couldn't multitask while doing it and talking to other people. I would get very frustrated if someone would interrupt me while I was doing a task, and that was so many jobs require you to be able to multitask, and I'm over here being like, I can only do one thing at a time, and if you're demanding my attention, I can't do this other thing, and it would result in me becoming angry.
Okay, so
I would say,
let me jump in real quick. The big problem with your testimony is that everything's long-winded. Everything is a full-on explanation, and right off the bat, like I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I've asked her some simple number questions, and I've never gotten a simple answer back. So we're going to try this a different way. Okay. I'm going to give you a question, and you're going to answer it with 2 words at the most. First question is, how many good days do you have in a month?
4.
Okay. And how many bad days do you have in a month?
The rest. Minimum, 28? No. 26.
There you go. Perfect. So, and here's the point with that. You had 4 good days, but 4 good days. Okay. So how long did this job last? The last one?
So I managed a year and 3 months.
A year and 3 months. Okay. So how did you make it? And this is a longer answer one. So now you get a long answer with only 4 good days where you were not a body, and then basically 26 days where you were just a body for over a year.
Well, for most most of my employment, I was actually alone. And so I didn't have anyone to buffer me. I didn't have anyone to look at my work that I was doing. And so when management came back, and because what had happened was I'd taken over with another girl, and she was working at another property. When she came back over to the property I was working at and took over the property I was working for, she kind of looked at everything and was like, what the hell's going on?
Okay.
What all happened? And I was like, well, I did my best. And she was like, well, it wasn't, you're not even operating at operation, like at procedure. So we spent some time trying to fix it together. They were hoping it was just something wrong with how I was managing, and then it wasn't, and they let me go.
Okay. All right. The job before that, how long were you in that job before that?
I was in that job for about 2.5 years, closer to 2.5.
Okay, so at 20, we're now approaching the early 20s, or 25, we're now approaching the early 20s. So you made it for 2 years plus. So is this something where it's getting worse, where you only have 4 out of 30 days in which you're really bad? Or was it something where you just, you had more good days, where it went from, instead of being only 4, maybe 8, maybe 10, maybe 12? So as we go farther back in time, did you have more good days per month?
I had more good days. That was for sure. I still worked a pretty stressful job, and I was lucky because I had become friends with my coworkers and my boss, and so if there was ever a day I needed off, they would work it for me. But I did have several more good days in the past, but as nearing the end of my job, my issues started to progressively get worse right before my move to Florida and my initial suicide attempt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, let me ask you this. It sounds like you're getting worse and worse and worse. When do you feel, and a short answer is appropriate, you became severely impaired?
2006 is, I think, when it started.
Okay.
2016, I'm sorry.
2016. Okay. But all right. So now here's another thing that you tend to do. You tend to not answer the question directly. So let's go back to the base question. When do you feel it became severe?
How do you?
Severe means you can't work, you can't do anything, you're just not functioning properly.
I would say it became severe probably about 8 months ago. I realized that everything in my life was, I guess it's really hard for me to describe. About 8 months ago, after, right before my first suicide attempt, maybe it was a year ago, but it was right before my first suicide attempt, I figured I would move to Florida, get a new start, and then I gave Florida a couple of months. Mm-hmm. And when nothing changed, I was like, okay, it doesn't get better. Everyone's lying. There's nothing that you can do. And, I don't want any part of it anymore. And then I made my first suicide attempt, and it changed me, not for the better. I almost died. I was very close, and I was pretty successful, and it was painless. And I was saved, but it was a close call. And so ever since then, I think about that, and I'm like, it was so easy. I could do it again.
What was so easy, being saved or trying to commit suicide?
No, trying to commit suicide. Like, everyone always makes it seem like it's a long-winded process that takes forever, and no one finds you, or you always get found, and it's such a small percentage of people actually die, and blah, 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 because everyone makes it seem like, oh, if you're going to cut your wrist or overdose or something like that, like, you're going to do it with aspirin, and you're going to do it with, like, a butter knife and something like that. Like, when you actually have that intent, to actually do something drastic like that, and you do it right, it goes so swiftly and smooth. And
Okay.
it was definitely a lot easier than I had originally thought it had been. I thought I would be dying for like 7 hours and that it would be painful, but at least it would be over. And it was not that. It was maybe 2 hours, and none of it was painful. And I just got tired, and I was getting ready to go to sleep.
So let's examine this a little bit. Now, let me ask you this real quick. Are you a safe person? If we examine the side of suicidal actions, homicidal actions, those memories that go into your past, are you a safe person, meaning that I can examine these with you and you'll be fine? Or are you an individual where if I get you hyped up, you're going to go out and have a bad day?
I am not going to hurt myself.
Okay. How do you know that?
Because I constantly, it's a very tricky thing for a lot of people. I constantly feel this way. I'm constantly thinking about things and like this, like end of life issues just in general. I know I am not going to hurt myself because I know what it's like to be in the mind frame where I know I'm going to hurt myself.
Well, how do you get yourself into that mind frame?
It takes time. How it kind of happens is I can wake up one morning and be like, oh, I want to die. And then I take a moment and I say, okay, I want to die, but I want to die every day. And I haven't died yet. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I do those things. And a lot of times they either work or they don't. And a lot of times, especially recently, they don't work. But what kind of happens with that is it hasn't been working, and a day passes, and I wake up, and I look at the ceiling, and I think, I still want to die. And then I go forth, and I try and work through my issues, and I have a bad day, and I fall asleep, and I wake up the next morning, I still want to die. And that's typically when it starts to kick in, where it's like, okay, well, I've had 3 bad days in a row. You know, they say it gets better, it doesn't get better. So let's look into another option. Let's look into hurting ourselves. Let's look into, because at that point, the escapism stuff hasn't been working. The talking to someone hasn't been working. The taking a nap hasn't been working. The distracting yourself hasn't been working. And, I am on medications, and medications don't stop you from wanting to hurt yourself. The only thing that they really do for you is they just give you an option, if that makes sense. And sometimes you're just too severe for it to be completely effective.
What are examples? What are examples of times in which that tactical questioning of convincing yourself that dying is something you don't want to do, even though you want to do it every day? What are examples of that failing? And what are some of the things that happened before that?
So one of the things that had happened for me personally was like one of my main coping skills is I can't die until, and I'll set myself a goal. I can't die until I go to SeaWorld. I can't die until I go to Universal. I can't die until, I get this or that or something. I'll set a date in the future, and as that date approaches, I'll set another one. And so that has worked for, obviously I'm still here, it's worked until now basically, but an example of when that failed, I had set a meeting with a prestigious tattoo artist. It was going to cost me a good portion of money, about $250, but he was going to set out a portion of his day for it. We were going to invest in this. And I was like, I cannot kill myself until I get that tattoo. And then I got the tattoo, I sat in my car, and I was like, okay, what next? What next? What next? And I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything, so I was just like, okay, well, I guess today's the day. And I had been having a bad week up until that point. And I had told my friend, she was like, well, you're going to go get the tattoo and it'll be so nice and we'll celebrate. And I couldn't think of anything. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to drive to the bridge and I'll jump off of it. And so I started to drive to the bridge, and my friend called me and she was like, look, I know something's going on with you right now. The last time something like this happened, you were already on the way to being dead. Like, what are you doing? And I basically was like, well, like, look, it's going to happen someday. So why not today? And she's like, please, for me, go to the ER, go to the ER, go to the ER.
So let me,
like, I don't want to.
And if you don't mind, do you mind if I do a little bit more of a mental analysis on you than a traditional disability hearing? Because I think it would get me to more of what I would need to understand to win this claim, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
All right. So suicidal ideation to you is a fetish. It is almost like it's like boats to me. It's where I think about boats. I want to be on the boat. I want to be able to go ahead and rebuild the boat so I can utilize the boat. It's something that I keep setting myself up to be a part of. And the reason why I do that is because I feel like there is a greener field in that arena than what I'm currently experiencing right now, which for me is constantly having to work day in and day out at the law firm without much of a break. I mean, you can even see my eyes are red from having a reading, every single day into the night. But the bottom line is this: you utilize it as something, as a reason to go ahead and re-examine the opportunity of killing yourself. And I think that when it comes down to the option of killing yourself, you've gotten close, which taught you that it's not only capable of happening, but it's easy to do. But then you use this coping mechanism to throw yourself farther away from how easy it is by making it tougher and tougher and tougher, like a stepladder, to be able to get to it. The thing that I want to know about is, okay, so which dates did you fail? Which dates did you set? And then you try to commit suicide either way.
What do you mean?
Oh, you set a date, right? I was going to go do this, and then I attempted suicide. So what were those dates that failed?
So the first date that it was I was laying in bed one night, and I had set I can't kill myself until I get a job, and I ended up getting a job, and I was just like, okay, so I have this job now, what am I going to do? And I was like, I've worked before, I've done all of this before, I've talked to people, I've done medications, it's just going to be the same old thing, just a new place with new people. And so I tried to kill myself. And then recently, with the one where my friend told me to go to the ER, and then I got Baker acted again. So there's like 2 Baker acts in that one. And then again, where I tried to jump off the bridge, like I actually made it to the bridge, and ambulances had to come out and everything. And that one was after I realized I was probably going to get fired about 2 months ago. And then recently I got Baker acted again because it was kind of settling in me. I just gotten written up, and I was like, okay, well, like, this is all, like, the cycle is going to start again, and I don't want it to. And so I started getting really bad, and my friend called the police on me, and they Baker acted me at work, and my job was kind of done with me after that.
Okay, I have a theory. And I think the theory is pretty well developed at this point. Do you ever sit there just thinking about things? You sit in silence, you just go over something over and over and over in your head.
Yes.
Okay, when you were in school, what were some of the extracurricular activities that you did?
When I was in school, I did theater, and I did some extracurricular political stuff. Like I would go out as a part of a group called Mayor's Youth. We would do some political stuff.
Okay.
I do plays.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask, and obviously no judgment zone at all, what type of political stuff would you do?
Well, we would, it was called Mayor's Youth, and basically what we would do is we would go and sit in a room, and we would pretend that we were trying to write or pass a law, and we would just discuss it with each other, and the mayor would chime in, and he'd be like, okay, well, this is how you would present it to the Idaho State Court, or this is how you would present it to, you know, the committee members, or blah, 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 blah. And then we would discuss that with each other. And every once in a while, I would go out door to door for like the mayor and just be like, hey, election day is coming up. You should vote.
Let me ask
stuff
you.
Like that. And then,
let me ask you this. So you would role play. So let me ask you this. When it came to the plays that you would, you know, partake in, what was your favorite play?
I really liked Bye Bye Birdie. I had a small role in that. Mostly what I did was help build sets. I helped build a set. I participated in singing the choir parts of it.
Okay. Help me out with this. All right. So here's what I think. I think we have a comparison of yearning to a comparison of wanting to be heard. And what happens is you're used to not being heard. You're used to being the child in most situations, to not being able to fix them, not being able to handle them, not being able to have the resources to be able to build the blocks to make, you know, them a mission success. And for that reason, you feel like you're defeated before you even start. And so that kind of comes into the whole being part of a play and playing roles, is that you already have a pre-designed path and you find comfort in that. I think that with your mom forced you to become a self-defeating individual, which is very common among disabled individuals. They're more accustomed to failure than they are to success, which is why they find peace and happiness in failure, because they get to retry once they get back on their feet. And they know that that day may come if they choose to allow it to come, which is very complex, mental analysis for an individual who's going to go ahead and make choices that will basically make her day fail. I have a theory. Do you miss a lot of appointments?
But I have missed a few.
Okay.
I don't miss a lot. I would say if I miss maybe a third of appointments, it's usually because I sleep through them.
Okay. Okay. So do you mind if I give you a little bit more analysis as to what I believe?
Okay.
All right. So I bet you have pains in your body. Sometimes you'll be sitting there and you'll just have pains. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you have these pains, do they usually last for a good chunk of the day?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Now, these pains, if they last for a short period of time, are they based upon your mood, or are they based upon, you know, what just happened?
I've never actually made that connection.
But just go with me. Like, just jump in there with answers. No thinking, just boom, jump in there.
Based on what happened.
So let's say, right? So let's say, boom, you're feeling pain. Where do you feel the pain?
Lower back, sometimes my hands, sometimes my feet, a lot of times my knees.
Okay. Is it around the middle of the day?
Yes.
All right. So you get revved up, you get to the middle of the day, and then you calm yourself down. So tell me this, what seems to be what you're eating in the middle of the day, or are you not eating when you get these pains?
I'm not eating when I get these pains. Well, like, do you mean have I eaten, or like? Well, usually I'll have lunch. So maybe after.
And let me ask you this. You say you don't eat that much. You don't feed yourself when you need to. You're saying you're
That's
getting...
not.
Okay. So let me... well, you tell me. What's the deal with the food? I mean, you're eating every day, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would probably say I overindulge. Recently, it's been different. When I had more access to money, I would just eat. But I would say since about 3 weeks ago, I've lost more of my appetite and I have lost weight, but that's not typical for me.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a lot of clothing or just a little bit of clothing?
I have a little bit of clothing.
Okay. Is most of your clothing fitted or not?
Not fitted.
Okay. And let me ask you this. When you were growing up, did your mom have a lot of clothing for you?
No.
Okay. So when you were growing up, did you have other siblings?
I did.
Did you inherit any of their clothing? You did not. Did you have cousins? Did you have other people?
I was alone with my mother. I kind of have siblings, but they're 16 years older than I am.
Okay. So you didn't get any hand-down clothing?
No.
Okay. How did your mother afford the clothing?
She didn't. They were given to me, usually by like a neighbor.
Okay. So you would inherit clothing from some source, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And let me ask you this. The clothing that you have right now, did you buy it at the mall or did you buy it at a store?
I bought it at a store.
Okay. Is it usually all from one brand?
Usually from Walmart or Torrid.
Okay. And let me ask you this. When you go to do the laundry, are you meticulous? Do you split it up? Do you go ahead and put the white clothing with the white clothing and all the colors with the color clothing? Or is it just you throw it in, here we go, we're done?
I throw it in.
Okay. All right. So I think a lot of this mental impairment does not stem from traditional PTSD-related activities. In my opinion, this is a long-term lack of self-expression through essentially a very strong belief that you are worthless. And that's sad because obviously you're not a worthless individual. You've placed yourself under the pedestal. You like the weight of it hanging on your shoulders and pushing down on you because you've become accustomed to that. When was the last time you did something nice for yourself?
Like what? I watched a movie the other day.
What movie was it?
I watched Hocus Pocus.
Great movie. Really, really good movie. I'm going to go watch that one of these days again. Now, tell me, who's your favorite character in that?
I really like the cat.
Okay. Why is the cat so awesome?
Because he really loves his sister and he just wants what's best for her and he wants to get back to her even if it means that his eternal life will be gone.
So you're seeing connections, right? Lack of worth, lack of appreciation for life, desire to be loved, desire to be held, desire to be part of something that's not just you. And yet you shut yourself off in a room to separate yourself completely from others, which is ironic because it's your own self-defeating, repetitive kind of motion, the circular, lifelong, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, therefore nobody's going to want to talk to me, interact with me, do stuff. In fact, the reason you're reaching out to me is outside of your code of usual conduct, correct?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. What are you in the next week to 2 weeks going to do that is going to place you in a positive, success-oriented situation?
I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Take a moment.
I could find another job. talk to the coworkers.
We're getting there. Keep going.
See a movie and
You are disabled. I'm convinced of it. But you are not disabled to the point where 4 or 5 years from now, you might not be severe anymore. You might actually get through this. It's going to take years to do it. I think maybe in your early 30s, you might be able to reconnect with who you were, or at least meant to be. Okay.
That's my issue right now, though. It's like, how do I get there? How do I get to that point? I just, like, I have to have help, but I don't have the money to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to find platforms. Okay. Platforms of people that want to help people. This could be a community help center. This could be one of those neighborly websites where everybody talks and chats. This could be a Facebook thing where you're reaching out to a friend who can connect you with other friends, but you are going to make the first step, which is asking for help. Can you tell me what statement, what question would you present to somebody in asking for help?
Hey, I need help. How?
Well, what kind of help?
I need help trying to, like, I already have a therapist.
Okay, which obviously is not working, but that's a whole other issue. So let me help you. I need help, okay, finding my self-worth.
Okay.
So what is self-worth to you? Can you define self-worth?
I can tell you what I think people who have it are like.
No, I don't want to hear about egos. I want to hear about your self-worth.
I would really like to have a clean car someday.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have more than one pillow. Mm-hmm. I would like to make sure that my dishes are done.
Mm-hmm.
To have my clothes hung up. Mm-hmm. I would like to have, nice products for, like, my hair or my body wash.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be nice to, have a nice TV to play games on or something.
What kind of games do you like? What, like Xbox?
I have an Xbox 360 that I inherited from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Do you ever go online and talk to people through the video game?
No.
No. Okay, gotcha.
I tried a couple of times, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to talk to other people.
Okay. All right. So I think in the comments here, I think Cheyenne came up with a really good one. She said, do me a favor, make a list of all things you love about yourself and things you are good at. So I think that the tough one there are the things that you love about yourself, because you have quite a bit of loathing inside you. And in fact, all the things that you just mentioned are things to improve your basic daily assets. I have stuff that I can use on myself. I have a clean this so I can enjoy myself, and that's fine. But those aren't things that are, like a hobby with joy. Those are just basic fundamental things to have that makes a place nice, as opposed to making you feel joy. So, and maybe you get joy from cleaning. I don't know, but if you did, you would already be cleaning. So let me ask you this: what is a hobby that you wish you had? You can say boating. That's fine too. I won't judge you.
In high school, I used to be a part of choir,
mm-hmm.
and I miss that quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. You pretty good?
It's been a few years. I don't think I am anymore.
Oh, well, singing is a thing that you have. I mean, even if you don't work the muscles, you can still get them back relatively quickly. What were you? Were you a soprano? Yeah.
I was an alto.
You were an alto. Okay, so let me ask you this. What was your favorite song to sing?
We did La Cremosa,
Good song.
which is a song about, it's a funeral song. I really liked that. We did it Ave Maria. Wow. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with death even back then.
Okay. So let me ask you this. All right. So what I'm going to do is, I'm assuming you have Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you see the person talking in the live chat of the online YouTube?
Let me, hold on.
Yeah. See if you can navigate to that. And while you're navigating, I'm going to present an idea to you, which is something that I think would be really helpful for you. Not everybody likes to sing classic or, traditional orchestral music. What would you say is your absolute most favorite song right now to sing to?
I really enjoy that song by The Weeknd. God, I'm trying to remember it. Blinded by the Lights or something like that.
Sure. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Your job is to find somebody who will sing that song with you. And the whole point of it is that you're going to go ahead and make a recording with your phone, and then you're going to send that recording to that person. That person's going to make a recording with their phone, and they're going to harmonize with you. And that's your first step towards doing something in a hobby that you really like. You don't need to end up with a great product. A product at the end of it isn't even the real point of it. It's not necessary. The point is the journey. And you are lacking love of the journey because you're too worried about the end product, because you'd always be blamed for things not being a success. Ergo, your mother would push on you and you would get yourself upset and you wouldn't end up at the end of the day feeling worthwhile. So you are about to become worthwhile. All right. So can you see the live chat area?
I am almost there.
Perfect.
Live. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you go ahead and type something into the say something area, so long as it doesn't have your name on it. And then go ahead. Yeah.
I don't think it has.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I did.
Perfect. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and catch up with the person who has the blue writing there. Do you see the person with the blue text chat?
Oh. Cyan.
Yep.
Cyan.
Exactly. So that's somebody who goes out and sings with bands, goes out and does a lot of music at fun bars and, basically, your island bars and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. You are going to buddy up. You're going to schmooze her to go ahead and do a duet with you. And she's going to go ahead and set you up with which app to download. And that's going to be your homework for this week. All right. And so basically your Thursday and Friday, you have tonight and tomorrow to make this happen so that by the end of Sunday, you have an actual recording of you singing. And basically after that, on Monday, you're going to be looking into what kind of options you have for the next step. Do you get a part-time job? Do you kind of do this or that? What the next step is going to be. But your whole big thing is to do basic steps to get back to what makes you somebody who is worth living. Okay? No, and we just lost the person. The phone went out. All right, so guys, I want to do a quick summary of that call. I guess I just lost them. They were probably pushing buttons on their phone to go ahead and chat on this live chat. But the bottom line is this. A lot of claims that we get specifically with that kind of background usually stem from PTSD as a child, where one of the parents made them feel not worthwhile. And they would do that by trying to remove that parental figure from their life. So let's say you loved your mom, you loved your mom, and then your mom would say to you, I don't want to be around you. I want to kill myself. I don't want to be around. All of a sudden, you as a child would go ahead and have a lot of issues with feelings of depression, feeling of, lack of relief from having the feeling of love. It's be a situation where you're accustomed to failure, accustomed to you not being worth enough to go ahead and enjoy being around others. And for that purpose, you end up in this very negative, accustomed to failure, not wanting to be part or around other people. Somebody who's afraid to interact with others because those conversations, they might get tricky, they might get difficult and things like that. So what I would say is this: she's going to go ahead and catch up. Yeah, that's cool. She's going to go ahead and check in real quick with her, Cheyenne, and then they'll go ahead and catch up. And hopefully, this person will be able to have a really, really amazing background in singing. So let me check something out real quick. Okay. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. You're calling during the live YouTube session. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Very good, very good. So walk me through. Would you like me to go through and do hearing questions with you, or would you like me to go ahead and answer some question related to disability law?
Hello?
Oh, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Would you like me to go into, would you like me to run disability hearing questions with you, or would you like me to go ahead and answer a specific thing of disability law?
Or else I'm cutting up really, really bad.
Do you want to give me a call back?
Let's see. Maybe you can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
I went more silent because my husband's watching television.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No problem. So would you like me to run hearing questions with you, or would you like me to go ahead and answer a specific question related to Social Security disability law?
Okay, you cut out again. But I was just going to see if you would run questions with me.
Okay, perfect. Now, let me ask you this. Are you inside or outside? Because we might get a better connection outside, and we might get a better connection if we do another phone call.
Okay, I am inside at the moment.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Hang up and then call me right back, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for that individual to give me a call back. Then we're going to go ahead and run some hearing questions and keep it rolling. All right. So that's going to be great because Cheyenne's really going to be able to help Cheyenne, and those two will be able to go ahead and create something really incredible. And that person hopefully will be able to slowly get out of disability and be able to kind of rejoin society as a happy individual. And the most important part in this, and I just want to point it out because a lot of people don't realize it, is that ultimately this person will be able to find other people who are struggling with depression, struggling with anxiety, struggling with PTSD, and be able to lift them out of that as well. And that whole paying it forward thing is really, really true and amazing, especially in the mental field, because, oh, here we go. Okay. Howdy, madame. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and run some hearing questions. Remember to use a fake name. Also, remember to give strong affirmations, as in yes, your honor, no, your honor. And also remember, if you have more than one body part, meaning a left hand or a right hand, that you specify left or right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Madame, go ahead and state your fake name for the record.
All right. My name's Susie.
Date of birth and current age.
8/17/65. I'm 55 years old.
Okay. Have you ever been a part of a club or union within the past 5 years, whether for recreational or professional purposes?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever been a part of the military?
No.
How many people live in the house where you live?
2.
Okay. Do you live in a single story or double story?
I live in single.
How old are the people that live in the house with you?
My husband, which is 46, 7, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And me, 55.
Okay, gotcha. Let me ask you this. You said there were 2 other people, so who was the other person?
Oh, nobody, just me and my husband.
Okay, 2 people, gotcha. All right, now let me ask you this. So you're 55. What was the last job that you had?
My last job, I worked very close to me, about 5 minutes away at a convenience store, and it was 2019 last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, and this is very important. What's the highest level of education that you have?
7th grade.
And within the past 15 years, were you ever a manager or somebody that was, a lead worker or somebody that was doing scheduling, payroll, or teaching other people how to do their job?
No, sir.
Okay. So let me ask you this. When you were working, that was a couple of years ago. Is that correct? It was a couple of years ago?
2019. My last
year ago.
was like July 2019.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so do you have any children?
Yes, I have 3.
Do they ever come visit? Oh, I lost you there. Yeah, I lost you.
You still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay. We lost each other for a second.
No biggie. Perfect. So let me ask you this. Do your children ever come visit you?
Yes, I have one son that comes.
Okay, but not that often,
2
correct?
3 times. No, my daughter comes to see me maybe 1 time a week.
Okay, understood. Let me ask you this. When it comes to doing household activities, you're the one that does all the household activities, correct?
If anything gets done, yes.
Okay.
Not very much.
Okay. So your husband doesn't do most of the cooking, cleaning, laundry, stuff like that?
He does his own laundry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about cooking?
Cooking, he helps a lot, and we have sandwiches a lot, but a lot of times I do the cooking. I just do something simple, or I pull my chair up to the stove and stuff like that, just something fast and easy that I can do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me ask you this. So you're not cooking more complex meals. He does his own laundry. I'm assuming you do the cleaning, correct?
Not very much. It's horrible to say, I know, but I try to do my dishes, and since it's only 2 of us, it's not very much, so thank God. But, yeah.
Well, surely you do
cleaning,
vacuuming, right? You do vacuuming. He does the mowing of the lawn, stuff like that.
He does everything outside, but me, I have no carpets, so I really have no vacuuming.
Okay.
And sweeping, I try to sweep up my kitchen, but besides that, it usually stays okay, It's not wonderful, but it's livable.
Okay. Now, do you have mental, physical, or both mental and physical impairments?
I have more physical than I do mental, but I have a lot of anxiety and depression, I guess you would say, but more physical. And I think the physical is what causes a lot of my depression.
Okay. So we're talking about depression here, maybe a little bit of physical there. What are your top 5 most severe impairments?
Let's see. I have like spinal stenosis. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have Sjogren's syndrome, which is like lupus. I have fibromyalgia. Oh my goodness, I have COPD. There's a lot more. And angina. I have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Vertigo. And I'm kind of lost. There's, a lot of little things that just keeps adding up.
Okay. All right. So we got a lot of little things, the big things, fibromyalgia, depression, things like that. Well, out of all of those, which is the absolute worst?
Worst would be my back issues, I'm not sure exactly what causes it. It's a spinal stenosis. I have a twisted pelvis as well. I got scoliosis. So I think a lot of things is just combining so much that I can't really understand which one is causing what. I've been trying to figure this myself out for a long time, which one causes actually what.
All right, let me ask you this. Now, obviously, when it comes to the twisted hip, that was either congenital, you were born with it, you have a love for Harleys and you had an accident, or you basically were playing near a pool and, tried to do an Olympic maneuver and it didn't work out. Which of those is what caused the twisted pelvis?
I think it might be the scoliosis. I guess I was born with that. I'm not sure, but
maybe the scoliosis and the hard work I've done all these years just twisted it. I know I hurt it a lot at work, and I had to go to a chiropractor, and he always said my one leg was shorter than any other.
So you were not an athletic runner, is what I'm hearing.
No, sir.
Okay, so you weren't at the Olympics. So if I was there, I couldn't have waved to you unless you were in the stands, of course, watching them jump over those little things. So let me ask you this. You had an accident at work. When did that happen?
Accidents at work, just me working too hard, trying to pick up like a flat of Cokes, to set them aside. When I would twist, it would, basically hurt a lot, and I'd end up with the chiropractor to get him to help me out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. All right, you have fibromyalgia. When did that start?
Yes, sir. I think 2016, I think, was when I got diagnosed with it.
2016. Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. So you have a hard time walking, correct?
Oh yes, sir, I do.
So you have a hard time getting up and down steps, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You go to a doctor. They look at you. They do the straight leg raise. They do the testing and see if you can walk well. Things like that.
Yes, my neurologist is doing a lot of those tests. Actually, I went to an MRI today, but it got canceled and I didn't know it, so it's rescheduled for the 19th. So I've got an MRI coming up. Okay.
All right, let me ask you this. You got an MRI coming up. They're going to try and figure out what's going on, or at least what got worse. I'm assuming that you don't have a crutch, walker, wheelchair, anything like that?
I've actually got a walker and a cane and stuff, but I don't use them, I would take them if I had to do something lengthy, but I really don't do anything like that. So
now, do you have a hearing coming up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
in January.
Okay. So around the corner. Are you one of my claimants or somebody else's claimants?
I'm somebody else.
Oh, good. Jesus. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the walker that you don't really use. You are now going to. I'm going to run the question again. You have a walker. Was it prescribed to you?
No, sir.
But it's going to be, right?
Do what?
It's going to be prescribed to you, right?
I don't know.
I'm glad you said yes.
It's getting worse.
I'm so glad you said yes. Now, here's what I'm hearing as a fake disability judge right now. I am the finest fake disability judge you've had all night talk to you, so I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. I am hearing somebody has difficulty with fibromyalgia, difficulty with back problems, and these are her main impairment-related issues when it comes to pain and inability to ambulate. And the problem I'm hearing is that this person is not so severe that they have a walker, but they let it collect dust, kind of like a Swiffer in the corner, because it sits over there. And that's fine. That's fine. But then when I ask you, is it prescribed? You said, nah. So then I ask you, why do you have it? And you're like, sometimes when it's raining outside and I'm achy, I might grab it. But, I really just use it to put things on. Yeah.
Actually, I don't use it at all. My sister actually got shot a few years ago, and she didn't need it no more. So I actually took it, and
that's good.
I had to use it one time.
Yeah. Well, at least you got some aluminum scrap right there. You could take that. Oh my goodness. So your sister got shot. Now she's already on disability benefits, I'm assuming, right?
No, actually, she got denied.
She got shot and denied. Boy.
Yes, sir.
Are you using the same lawyer?
No.
No? Okay, good. All right. I just wanted to make sure because, if somebody gets shot, they usually get found to say, where was she shot? I'm just curious.
She was shot in her groin, actually.
Really? Somebody that's shot in their groin with the limitation of going to the bathroom Was not found disabled.
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes. I don't think she has the right person fighting for her.
I am flabbergasted. I am astronomically, meteorologically. I don't even understand how that even makes. Let me just comprehend this a little bit. So this woman who was shot in the genitals. How long ago was she shot?
Oh, it's probably like 3 years ago.
3 years ago, she's shot, right? And she's gone through some sort of therapy, right? And some sort of surgery, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes, and a lot of physical therapy.
Bunch of physical therapy. That makes sense. That makes sense. When you're shot in the genitals, it makes sense to have to go to physical therapy, especially when it comes to being able to go to the bathroom. Does she have difficulty going to the bathroom?
Well, she did have. I think she has problems in her walking now.
Oh, okay.
You know, but she has really done a lot to improve.
Yeah.
She has a lot of skill, but
she's a tough cookie. Yeah. That's let me tell you. Okay, so just so I fully comprehend, she was shot in the genitals, which related to her going through lots of therapy, which related to her having a difficulty with walking, she was actually given the prescription for a walker, which you then inherited because she was such a badass that she said, I don't need it. I'm gonna walk myself to the store, right? That's what happened.
Well, she's very tough, but yeah, she you know, gave me her stuff. She said, I'm gonna do this, I guess, but
man, I wish I had her claim.
I think I used it one time.
All right, so and then we have you.
Can't get a job.
Oh no, of course you can't get a job. Are you kidding me? If she had to go to, let's call it like it is. If she had to take 10 minutes to go to the bathroom once every 4 hours, right? Then we're at the maybe she could do a job, maybe. But if she's not walking right, she's, you know, obviously she's going to have pain down there and then difficulty to go to the bathroom maybe every 2 hours, 10 minutes a piece to 15 minutes a piece. There's no way. You'd be off task way too much. So that is a interesting claim. That to me would be a very simple home dunkaroo. I mean, that is Michael Jordan walking up to a kiddie-sized pool basketball net and slamming it so that it snaps in half and then basically impales himself on it because it would have been that easy, but couldn't get her done. So, all right, aside from your sister, let's go back to you, the person who collects orthopedic devices and doesn't use them.
Yes.
I like this claim. It's tough. It's a tough one to win. I like it. All right, so let me ask you this. What kind of medications are you taking?
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. I'm on gabapentin. I'm on morphine. I'm on Oxycontin. I'm on like lisinopril for my heart and amlodipine for my heart. I got like 10 or 15. I'm trying to get them all remembered here. Sulfasalazine, I think is pronounced, and hydroxychloroquine. A lot of that is for my rheumatoid arthritis. Mm-hmm. And I think that basically sums up a lot of them. I might have a couple of there that I forgot to mention. Okay.
So you got a hearing in 3 months, and you don't know what medications you're on.
Well, I got them listed. I had my list in the house, and when I needed to come outside, I just left it on inside.
I agree. It is the list's fault. Let's keep going with that. What are the what are the side effects of those medications?
Okay. Well, the side effects is actually a little bit of nausea, and I really get tired, and I can't focus. And that's it, I guess. I'm just really tired and can't focus, and I need to lay down.
All right, so you're not sure which medications cause which side effects. You know that you get tired and you don't want to do stuff. You're not currently working, but your husband is affording you to be able to not work. How do you think that looks to the judge?
Probably not very good.
It looks slightly less than awesome. And I want to give you the benefit of the doubt that list, that lying little dirty list, wouldn't come outside because it does not like how cold it is in Florida. Are you in Florida?
No. I'm northeast Alabama.
Oh, okay. So you're even more north. So that list doesn't want to go outside because it's cold out. It doesn't have a nice piece of, number 2 paper to go ahead and wrap around it. I don't even know if that's a type of paper. I know it's a pencil. But all right. So what we're going to do is now I'm imagining this list with like a fur coat, like just shivering now. It's got a nice little like Ralph Lauren thing going on, a little emblem on it.
It's actually in the house staying warm while I'm outside on the porch in a coat.
This list is starting to sound smarter and smarter. All right, so the list exists. That is step 1. All right, so we need medications. We need what they're for. We need side effects. We need dosages. We need all that jazz on the list. Great. Now let's go on to the next one. What in the environment causes you to have more severe impairments?
I don't understand.
Okay. Cold, hot, dust, loud sounds, vibrations, pulmonary irritants, stuff like that.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, with my COPD, cold, heat, throws me into breathing difficulties where I cough. And believe me, my coughing is not simple. I've been thrown into laryngospasms. I've coughed so hard because of my breathing difficulties.
Okay.
And what else besides that? See, my memory's not too good either. I've actually got diagnosed with an EEG of early dementia. So
Okay.
my memory is fading me somewhat too.
All right. So we got memory issues. So that's why, we're having okay, gotcha. Now, let me ask you this. When it comes to working, why do you feel you can no longer work?
Well, actually, I cannot stand there to do the job. About 20 minutes, and I'm usually in severe pain that I got to sit down. That's why I usually keep a chair with me at the kitchen, at the stove to get up, sit down, get up, sit down. And a sit-down job, say, I could sit down probably 1-2 hours maybe, but I'm shifting positions. And with my lisinopril and other medications, I'm having to go to the bathroom a lot. And I got to have something to drink with me 24/7 at my hand because of my Sjogren's. I don't know if you know a lot about Sjogren's,
Yeah.
but they say it's a dryness disease.
Yeah.
But I have severe dry mouth.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So I got to have something to drink a lot.
All right. So here's the thing that the claim is going to be won on. Frequent urination, urinary urgency. Tell me, how many times per day do you have to go to the bathroom?
Probably 8 to 10 before I go to bed, I guess, and then I have to get up in the middle of the night, usually a couple of times.
Okay. So you're going to the bathroom all the time, which means you have to drink and eat all the time, correct?
Well, I drink a lot, and I do nibble a lot because the dryness also is not keeping me drinking. It's my mouth and my throat and my esophagus, even my stomach gets really, really raw. Like last night, I told my husband, I said, "Find what you can. I got to go to bed. I can't take the pain no more." I get really, well, you can probably tell by my voice now, I'm beginning to get really, really dry. It gets so severely dry.
Okay.
And of course, I come outside without something to drink as well.
Okay. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, let me ask you this. When it comes to, getting dressed in the morning, do you have any difficulty getting dressed?
say so. Usually when I go to the bathroom, I usually sit on the commode and I put on my pants from there. Because if I stand up, I could lose my balance. I cannot lift my legs too high off the floor. So I usually sit down to put on my clothes.
Okay. I can think of a lot of ways that I would beat this claim up, which is not a good sign. Has your attorney prepped you at all for this claim?
No.
Okay. Did you watch like the top?
Found out it was.
Yeah. You probably just found out and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? One of those gigs.
Well, she called me with 2 questions, and I didn't realize it was the lawyer. I thought it was the firm that I went through. Apparently, they got a few lawyers. So she asked me how long could I sit, how much I could pick up, and that was it. I called them back to ask her about it, the receptionist. I said, well, I'm going in this, courtroom blind. Mm-hmm. I need to know, what is our strategy here? I have watched some of y'all's videos, you and Dr. Ginsburg, to understand what is supposed to be happening in this. Mm-hmm. So I know I need a strategy.
What do you feel is the weakest part of your claim?
The weakest part of my claim, to me, would probably be my Sjogren's and the fibromyalgia, since that is not high listing, I guess.
Okay. All right. Here's what's going to happen. Your whole job is to grit out because you're 55 years old. You're presenting as somebody who's not as disabled as they should be to be considered severely disabled for a vocational allowance. So what you need to realize is that you need to go ahead and change your alleged onset date and kill off some of that AOD, your back pay, and put it.
My onset date is 2019. It had to be changed in.
Yeah, because of your work. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yes, I worked. I've lost a couple of cases already, and I tried to work and win those cases, and it didn't work.
All right. So the only thing you need to learn from tonight is that you need to change your alleged onset date to when you turn 55. When did you turn 55?
August this year.
August of this year, which is not good because that was not long ago.
Yes.
And you get the 12-month requirement of being found disabled with an impairment that's lasted 12 months. And you got 3 months and then 3 months to decision, which means that August, September. All right, so let's look. Let me pull up a calendar real quick. Let me see if the math is even possible on this thing. All right, August. What day in August?
17.
All right, 17. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, the judge could do that. You need to make this claim as easy as possible for the judge to approve. Otherwise, it feels like a claim. All right, let me ask you this. Your back. When was the last time you had a CT, MRI, X-ray, medical imaging?
I'm not mistaken. I think it was last year in 2019.
2019.
Yeah, because I was needing to bring a copy to this appointment I had today, and the hospital told me that they could fax it to the new specialist, and they're supposed to get that fax. So I'm not sure if they did. I'm going to call tomorrow and see if they actually got those records.
All right, so I think what your best point of option is either A, change your alleged onset date up front to be when you turn 55, make it easy for the judge to go ahead and approve you, or do the ALJ AOD SALSA, which is where you have your post-work AOD, right? So you put it the month after month you last worked, which is, I'm sure, what it's set at right now. That's what most of these quick attorneys do. However, can you tell me the month after you stopped working, what medically happened that made you more severe?
I think my back actually got worse because I wasn't moving as much, and I started getting more stiff, and And it just seemed to get worse. I know I pushed myself at work. I would cry having to leave here knowing I had to force myself to go to work every day.
Okay.
And I would come home and I would cry because I hurt so bad. I literally sat down at work and wouldn't leave because I hurt so bad.
Okay. Okay. But there's nothing medically, right? That was like, this is the moment, the month after you stop working, right?
When I finally stopped working.
Yeah.
Well, when I finally stopped working is when we finally, oh, Lord, my mind's done gone blank.
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
Let me help you out here a little bit. The judge is going to look at this as you stopped working and then life got easier and then you got better. And that's how the judge is going to look at this situation. The judge is going to say, well, you got to work. Got to work to be able to earn a living. Got to work to be able to live. Otherwise, she's just basically receiving funds through her husband. Life is good, and she's choosing not to work. She's just a stay-at-home person. I need you to realize that you need to change the alleged onset date to you being 55. You need to immediately go get a prescription for your walker, wheelchair, and cane, or a walker and a cane and a shower stool. I need you to go ahead and, if they're necessary. You said before they weren't necessary, but maybe they are necessary. Maybe you should try walking around with them. It might reduce the pain a bit. The other thing I need you to do is I need you to go see a mental physician for a review for the depression and anxiety and explain to them the pain and how it limits your ability to do functions that you used to do. The other thing that I'd like you to do is call your attorney and get them to go ahead and run a bunch of questions with you, because we didn't even get that far, and I'm already seeing how it would beat this claim. And that's not good. And like you said, you need a strategy. Well, the first thing you need is a good claim, and then you need a strategy with the good claim while you're at the hearing as to what to say. So what I'm a little worried about here is the only thing that's good on your claim is your age. Now, I mean, look, if you were severely impaired with these things, you'd have difficulty lifting things, walking, pushing, pulling, stooping, kneeling, remembering, focusing, concentrating, which you're having because you're having drop thoughts all the time. But you don't come off as somebody who is incapable of working. You come off as somebody who is, capable of doing a part-time job and then maybe swinging into a full-time job to see how it goes. Did you get any letters from your prior employers as to why you couldn't work there?
No. My boss, if I happen to come in the store, he's like, "When are you coming back?" I'm like, "Ma'am, I can't come back."
Why not?
Why? Because I could not stand there to do the job. I would be in so much pain that I would have to leave. I forced myself to work. I really did.
Okay.
And it's bad when you got to force yourself,
Yeah, no, I understand. I do that in part every day when I wake up, and I wanted to be a rock star, but it turns out I'm ugly. So then the next best thing was boat builder, and it turns out that doesn't pay very well. So I ended up an attorney and, student loans to follow. So I do understand that point of it. Let me present this to you as a rock star that did not make it. When you go to play your guitar before that judge, you want to be able to have an emotional story, which I haven't heard yet. You want to be able to explain what at the job you can't do. Like, I can't stand. Well, how long can you not stand for? What were the functions that you did at that job? You pushed buttons on a cash register. You stocked items. You did this, you did that. I need to know what the job entailed. The other thing that I'm a little worried about is, basically, how bad is it with the fibromyalgia? How bad is it with the back pain? What is the medical imaging showing? Is it moderate? Is it severe? Is it mild? Is it trace? What is it? Are we looking at a 1.04 or is it not that bad? Are we looking at a 1.02 for weight-bearing joints or is it not that bad? So that's kind of the thing I'd be looking at too. But please do the following. I'm giving you homework because at 10 p.m. I have to go to the post office and mail off a bunch of initial filings that are going to be super fun. Number one, go get a prescription for a cane, a walker with a seat, and a shower stool. Those will help you immensely with your pain problems. Next thing, talk to the doctors about which medications are not working and have them begin a plan to go ahead and switch you over to other medications. Okay, that'll show that the medications are not relieving the symptoms and issues related to your impairments. Okay, next thing.
Actually, that just happened.
Good. So you're going. I want you to go back to.
He switched me from.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was fixing to say he switched me from 15 milligrams to 30 milligrams of morphine just last week.
Okay, good. So you're on morphine, so you must be living the dream in some degree or living in Oregon, either one of those options, let me tell you. All right, so now let me go on to the next thing. I want to make sure that you have letters from your prior employers explaining why you couldn't do the job that you used to do. Can you get those letters?
I'm not sure, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just Cordon if he would write them. I don't know. He's a weird kind of guy. He's actually Indian.
Okay, gotcha. So if you were to write up a letter explaining the issues you had, would he agree to that letter? And if so, would he be able to go ahead and create that letter and sign off on it?
He might, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're going to be doing that. The other thing I need you to do is I need you to keep a diary of the medications that you're taking and the side effects you get from them from today going forward to the hearing, okay?
Okay.
The other thing I want you to start talking about with your doctors is the difficulty you're having with walking, specifically upstairs, over curbs, and also when getting in and out of cars.
Yeah.
Now remember, these are all things only if they're true. Only if they're true do you go ahead and utilize them.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have...
Well, he actually knows that. He knows that, you know, he asks me every time I talk to him, you know, have I fallen?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I've had a lot of, you know, near falls.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But so far, luckily, I haven't fell, which I fell, you know, a lot in the past. Fall down my steps, and my husband, you know, had to come and say, hey, you okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I do fall a lot.
Gotcha. All right. So do you have any other questions for me before I pop off the air? I bet you have a bunch, but, you know.
I probably do, but I can't think of them. That's why I wanted to call you. That way I know this would be recorded and I could re-listen.
Good. That's smart. That's really smart. All right.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Do all these things. Call up your attorney and have your attorney run the questions with you over and over and over and over again. And if that attorney won't run the questions with you over and over and over and over again, then find some other local attorney who might be able to assist you, because you need some prep. The claim has not been steered correctly, and I am very concerned about where you're going with this. And please make sure you amend your alleged onset date to when you turn 55. Make it as easy for this judge, because you're going to give up your back pay. You're using what we call the nuclear option, but it's better to be found disabled with a check than not disabled at all.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. You know, the back pay is no problem for me.
Now, who's that going to be a problem for, though? Who's the back pay going to be a problem for?
The lawyer.
Yes. And what is our number one rule when talking about back pay? It is don't get greedy. Don't get greedy.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's not important to me.
And who does the attorney work for?
Do what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
And who does the attorney work for?
Do I say the name of the
firm
that I went with?
No, the attorney works for you.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I was fixing to blurt out the firm now.
I don't need to know where, or what the firm is or whatever. Yeah, this doesn't bother me.
I didn't know if I should say that.
Nah, it's, Anyways, if you have further questions, you do have enough time. You can always call me back. We'll catch up. Please work on those things. Do report back to me during one of these lives or one of these, not when we're live, or any one of those options. And then we'll catch up from there. Do you have any additional questions for me that are quick that I can answer before I pop off?
I can't think of any, no.
Perfect. Madame, I'm going to go and get one of those giant drinks.
Thank you.
You got it. I will catch you guys later. Have a wonderful night, and all the best luck with your claim.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, guys, so we've now officially reached 10 o'clock. Shadow has been in that room for a total of an hour and a half and has thrown at least 20 hissy fits. Either he's driven Sweetie insane, or Sweetie has literally bored a hole through the carpet, through the concrete, and is now living somewhere on the west side of Florida. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and end the whole thing here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I had an absolutely wonderful time interacting with you and going through the claim. Please remember, I work there at Disability Resolution PA half of the past 7 years. Now we're coming up on 8 years. I started to learn a law firm 7 years ago. I used to work in the industry, though, for a total of 15 years, which is why I have all this gray hair coming in at the wonderful age I am. And then over here, spaceconstitution.com, that's the website I'm starting so that we can have a discussion platform to talk about what rights not only current countries should have on Earth, but also what future rights humans should have in space, because that's what I really like to talk about. That's what I really like to work on. I don't get a lot of time to do it, but that's something that really interests me. All right, guys, I will catch you a little bit later. Have an absolutely wonderful day. If you do have a question, I'm going to miss it, just shoot me an email with me, and I'll try to catch up with it. Have a wonderful time, guys. All righty. Bye-bye.